This video is presented by Sailrite.
Hi, I'm Matt Grant from Sailrite. If you've got a snap that's just too easy to snap together and too easy to pull apart, chances are that the spring inside the socket has lost its stiffness. And when that happens, what you need to do is you need to remove the old stud and eyelet piece. So this is the stud, this is the eyelet, and you need to remove the socket and the button, and we need to replace those parts. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So the way to remove a snap is to drill out the rivet. There's a rivet connection between the two parts. And I'm using a 3/16 inch drill bit. Although the size isn't super critical, it just needs to be bigger than the barrel of the rivet so that you're drilling off the rolled rim of the rivet. And we're just going to put this down and carefully drill, and you can see it doesn't take much time at all before it eats away at that and makes it possible to pull that button out. Now we can use the exact same hole to install our new part. Let's go ahead and install the button side. I'm going to use Sailrite's press and snap tool for that because it's one of the best tools in the marketplace. But before we do that, this is a thick piece of leather. Let's make sure that this standard rivet length is long enough. And see how that barely protrudes through? That's not going to give us a very secure fit. As a matter of fact, when I put the socket on top of it, you can see that there's almost no rivet end to roll through. So actually we're not going to be able to use these red type colors. We're going to have to go back to a silver button with a longer rivet post in order to get a good set. So I'm going to go grab one of those. So now we've grabbed our buttons here, and you can see our red one that we're not going to be able to use had the 11/64, or actually I think they call it 3/16 for this style, but what they call the standard barrel length. The next size up would be a 1/4 inch, and then we go to a 5/16 inch. So the best way for us to check to see which is going to work in our application is to push it through the hole and see how much of the rivet is sticking up. Now on the other side, when we get to it, while I was going to the shelf, I grabbed the taller 5/16 inch of the eyelet as well, assuming that we're going to have a similar problem on the other side of the handle. So let's go ahead and see what's going to work. So this is the 1/4 inch, and you can see we get a little bit of the rivet sticking up. Let's take our socket again, and that's going to work out pretty well. It's sticking up enough that that's going to roll nicely. So we're going to go with the 1/4 inch size, and let me get some of these parts out of the way, and we're going to load our press and snap tool. Button will go into the special die on the top. Okay, and our socket, going to change that tool out though. Socket will go on this piece, and then all we need to do is get it, since we're working with an existing hole, we need to get it through the hole. Press our tool together and clamp it. And you can see we have a very nice roll to the rivet and a nice button top on it. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing now with this one. Okay, both of our buttons are installed. Now we essentially do the same thing with the eyelet side. We're going to drill out the rivet. And if you angle the tool a little bit, you can often break it free a lot easier. Haven't quite gotten it yet. There we go. Okay, now let's check that height that we were talking about. Here's our standard size eyelet. And you can see that barely sticks out there, so that is not going to work once again. We're going to have to go to the tall eyelet. Press that through, and then make sure that with the stud that we're going to have enough metal, and we are. Okay. So first we need to change to the proper dies for the other side of the snap, and to do so we pop these dies out, put the socket die, or the stud die in, and then put the eyelet die in. Okay, so good. Now we need our longest, we already determined we need the longest eyelet, and that's going to go into the top here. Get our gasket around it, and then we need our stud, and our stud will go into the bottom here. And let's make sure we get it in the proper orientation, and that would be with the stud on my right side. So I'm going to get this all lined up the way it goes. There we go. And now give it a good squeeze. And once again, we have a very nice set to a stud, and we can see that now that snaps quite positively, which is what we were trying to accomplish. And we just finished the last one and we're done.